there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today as we journey through my home, we are in my restroom. This is an amazing shower curtain called Daughter, which is actually, the way they named this is the reason that I bought it. Third eye open is how I will do my life's work. It's having the ajna open throughout my life has been one of my largest practices, and my mom and my dad are both gone from the physical plane. But this is a reminder to me every day that I'm in my restroom that they're here with me. I am their daughter, and they're right there as close as my breath looking at me. I came into my restroom today because I wanted to show you a couple of products that I dearly love. These are some tips and tricks from Heather Feather, game changers. The first is Super Nasya oil. This is from the Cytosoma line, Cytosoma Supreme. If you're not familiar with Dr. Ladd from the Ayurvedic Institute, he created the first institution of Ayurvedic medicine here in the West. There's an amazing movie that is very interesting about what a humble, service-oriented soul he is, called The Doctor from India. So if you want to know about the profundity of his soul, that's a great thing to see. But this medicine is a must-have for me. Super Nasya oil, I put a couple of drops in each nostril most mornings. Most mornings I tend to wake up with kind of a clogged nose, and I just keep my head tilted back. I get into the shower and I do my thing. You can also do it right before bed, but it will clear your nasal passage like magic. The other thing that I use on a pretty regular basis is Bringaraj oil. It's also from the Cytosoma Supreme line, which means that you can get both of these items by going to ayurveda.com and clicking on the green shop button in the upper right hand corner. And I put a turban on. This is just a cotton turban. So even with my shaved head, I put Bringaraj oil on my head, and I put my turban on, and I pull it over my ears, and it keeps my ears warm. And it is an amazing, Bringaraj oil is an amazing oil for hair growth, hair sheen. It also aids with sleep. So I rub a pea-size amount into the palm of my hand. I rub my hands together, and then I rub the rest on the base of my feet, which is standard practice for Bringaraj oil. Then I wash my hands and I go to bed. In the morning, you start with shampoo on the head instead of water, and that'll get the oil out of your hair. So those are two very powerful tips and tricks. Just by going to ayurveda.com and clicking on the shop button, you can get Bringaraj oil, and you can also get Super Nasya oil from the Cytosoma Supreme line. I also highly recommend in my restroom, I don't know if it'll translate on film, I do have a red heat lamp in here. And it is amazing, and it's extremely cost effective, and it's very warming to use a red heat lamp in your restroom. So those are today's tips. So those are some wonderful tips for working with Ayurvedic medicine, which is medicine that is thousands of years old. I'm somebody that, since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I've known that herbal medicines are the way to go. Natural medicines are the way to go. Those medicines are thousands of years old. They are tried, tested, and true. Western medicine is interesting, but it doesn't have as much history. So in the stages of growth, infancy, adolescence, adulthood, and wisdom, the West may be in adolescence in understanding Western medicine. I can tell you when my mom was in the hospital, they knew nothing. Nothing. She was jaundiced, swollen. She had her ear lacerated. She had blood. She was bleeding on the brain. And they were like, we don't know if she'll wake up from this coma, if she'll be able to talk, if she'll be able to walk. And that's where we are with all of our advancements in Western medicine. We're still just like, we don't know anything, even though we've all had tons of years of study. So, Western medicine is helpful. I always say if I break my arm, I'm probably going to go to a Western doctor. Frankly, it's only because I don't have access to a jungle medicine man to go to. However, so I'm not bashing Western medicine. I'm just saying that the challenge of Western medicine is that when it came to the forefront, it pushed ancient medicines to the background and almost vilified them, And it's like, well, this is how we've been healing humans since forever. So I'm a huge advocate of herbal medicine, natural medicine. Also, they don't have the side effects typically that you see with Western medicine. It's like, this can aid depression, but may cause spontaneous combustion. I mean, it's not that bad, but there's usually a lot of side effects. And to me, it's not a medicine if you're going to heal one thing in me and give me another condition. So it's a great place to start is with homeopathy, herbology, natural medicines. those are some of the tips from today. I wanted to give you a trick as well that I work with in my consciousness on a daily basis, which is to just be in the flow. Being in the flow means that my awareness isn't just right in front of me, that I have my peripheral vision open at all times, that my awareness expands actually quite far around me. And I'm aware when I'm driving of all the other cars on the road, the matrix of how everything is moving. If I'm in a store, I'm aware of how the bodies are moving, where the openings are. And so being in the flow is a daily active practice for me. Am I in the flow when I'm driving? Am I in the flow when I'm walking? A lot of people are not in the flow. Their awareness is not even open directly in front of them, you know? So can I be more in the flow as I walk through my day, more aware of how I'm walking through the world, more aware of how I'm driving through the world? Because the entire web shakes. As I often say, we are all influencers. It is impossible to be a living entity and to not shake the web of all of existence. And that's because on a quantum level, everything is waves of probability until the consciousness is present and makes that wave of probability a particle. Mind-boggling. Quantum mechanics is mind-boggling. Even Niels Bohr says if it hasn't really surprised you, you haven't understood quantum mechanics, because it is shocking. It is shocking. We swim in a sea of quantum waves of probability, and they become particles based on our attention. So my invocation for a trick for today in easing grace in the movement of your day is to extend your awareness into more, can I be in the flow in all environments that I'm in? Heather's often dipping, ducking. She's kind of moving, dancing around through the grocery store, through the roads, because my awareness is broad. I can see that that person is about to, they're slamming on the brakes there. I can see that, I can see that that person's going to turn 3 cars up. That's going to slow down this line. It's aided me a lot to be more in the flow because I'm kind of going with the rhythm of life. So today, for A Course in Miracles, I'm just walking you through some of these lessons just to give you a taste or the flavor, and you can begin anytime. There's 365 lessons. Like I said, most people don't do all 365 in the first year. They are an ego deconstruction system. This may be the age of narcissism because we've got, social media everywhere, and narcissistic tendencies are running rampant in the world. I've decided to enter a monkhood, a priestesshood. I've shaved my head. I'm no longer going to work on romance and attraction. With my Libra Venus, romance is important to me. With my, Cancer, Mars, and Moon, having a nest with a beloved is important to me. And with my Sagittarius Sun and Leo Moon, I'm also not willing to tolerate intolerable circumstances. So I've just entered a priestesshood in which I'm no longer going to hold any conscious awareness around romance in my life. My beloved will find me. I was told I have a destiny to love and on all levels and be loved on all levels. So they're going to have to find me. I'm going to be studying. I'm going to focus on divinity, and I'm going to focus on divinity. So today's lesson is I am never upset for the reason I think, lesson 5 in A Course in Miracles. This idea, like the preceding one, can be used with any person, situation, or event you think is causing you pain. Apply it specifically to whatever you believe is the cause of your upset, using the description of the feeling in whatever term seems accurate to you. The upset may seem to be fear, worry, depression, anxiety, anger, hatred, jealousy, or any number of forms, all of which will be perceived as different. This is not true. However, until you learn that form does not matter, each form becomes a proper subject for the exercises for the day. Applying the same idea to each of them separately is the first step in ultimately recognizing they are all the same. When using the idea for today for a specific perceived cause of an upset in any form, use both the name of the form in which you see the upset and the cause which you ascribe to it. For example, I'm not angry at blank for the reason I think. I'm not afraid of blank for the reason I think. But again, this should not be substituted for practice periods in which you first search your mind for sources of upset in which you believe the forms of upset which you think result. What? But again, this should not be substituted for practice periods in which you first search your mind for sources of upset in which you believe and forms of upset which you think result. There it is. In these exercises, more than in the preceding ones, you may find it hard to be indiscriminate and to avoid giving greater weight to some subjects than to others. It might help to proceed the exercises with the statement, There are no small upsets. They are all equally disturbing to my peace of mind. Then examine your mind for whatever is distressing you, regardless of how much or how little you think it is doing so. You may also find yourself less willing to apply today's idea to some perceived sources of upset than to others. If this occurs, think first of this: I cannot keep this form of upset and let the others go. For the purposes of these exercises, then, I will regard them all as the same. Then research your mind for no more than a minute or so and try to identify a number of different forms of upset that are disturbing you, regardless of the relative importance you may give them. Apply the idea for today to each of them using the name of both, the source of the upset as you perceive it, and the feeling as you experience it. Further examples are: I'm not worried about blank for the reason I think. I'm not depressed about blank for the reason I think. 3 or 4 times during the day is enough. So now we're looking at the contents of our mind. We're scanning the contents of our mind. I often describe myself as an everything nothingist. I believe everything and nothing, so that I truly believe everything. And in that regard, from my perspective, I am not a YOLOer. I've said that many times. I remember as a little girl pulling out a book by Prabhupada on reincarnation and asking my mom about this. And she was very, very adept at honoring my spiritual sovereignty and not wanting to influence the decision I made about spirituality, but allowing my ancient source of lifetimes to flush up in me. But I remember being like, yes, this picture, Prabhupada has a beautiful picture of reincarnation on the cover. And I've studied this throughout my life. I've studied all these different reincarnation cases. So I definitely believe we live many lives. In that regard, we are many cultures. We are all expressions of life. Heather Feather, because time and space aren't actually a reality, they're experienced, but they're not a reality because we're only ever here now and you can't jump out of it. In that regard, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian, I am atheist. I am all of the things. So the way Heather Feather walks through her life is to practice a little bit of everything to honor all the journeys my soul has been on. So A Course in Miracles and Way of Mastery are the way I honor my Christic or Christian response to life, because I find it to be true Christianity. It's driving us to the place of looking at the content of our mind, ensuring that we're coming from love. Jeshua ben Joseph said 70 times 7 forgive. That means 490 times forgive, because that's how often your mind will judge. And I find minds to be very judgmental, including mine. And I find that to be a very powerful medicine, is to turn the attention to love. In the same regard, I do Hindu prayers every day. I've done Sufi meditation. I extend myself into many different faith traditions. So A Course in Miracles might not work for you because you might be atheistic or of another faith tradition and you don't pursue anything else. But I'm just sharing this with y'all for this first week of the year, just in case there are any out there that want to activate looking at the contents of their mind and seeing how much in the paradigm are we choosing love, how much are we upset. The aim of the Course in Miracles is to remove our blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's what we're doing, is removing our blocks to the awareness of love's presence. To me, there are a few practices more vital than this. I would say another vital practice is to be connected to your divinity, just in the same way you're connected to love and other things that are content instead of form-based and don't fit under a microscope. So that's today's lesson. Heather has got a lot to say today, everybody. Goodness gracious. I hope you'll get to practice that lesson a few times today. I hope that you'll find ways to get more and more in the flow and to open and expand your awareness. My brother-in-law has done martial arts for 25 years, and he's very passionate about women specifically opening their awareness, not being on your phone in a parking lot, because having open awareness lets you know if somebody's trying to come mess with you. So keep your awareness open when you're out in the world, be able to care for the self in all ways. And he offers a lot of wisdom and is wise in that. A wide, broad awareness helps us to have a wide, broad ability to respond to life. Again, the Supernasio oil and the Bringaraj oil and the red light in the restroom that is a heat lamp, I highly recommend. I hope you have a golden day. Amun.